We are not rare. But before you leave, you will perceive the lore will be unlocked. You might be stalked by a Sasquatch or a ghost witch, possibly even a ghost that will boast about knowing the Ohio grassman or even the Michigan dogman. Werewolves hunt, poltergeists are up front, but in these backwoods folklore is unlocked.
Welcome back to Folklore Unlocked. I'm Austin, and like always, I'm joined by Ethan.
Yep, hello again, everyone.
And this week, we are taking a look at the infamous Hellhounds. And the description of Hellhounds are they're large, black hounds with red eyes, and they're often accompanied by flames and associated with death, and they have supernatural strength for dogs. And in this case, hounds could just mean another word for dogs in general.
Some examples of some hellhounds. One would be, of course, Cerberus from Greek mythology, which is a three-headed dog that protected the underworld. And I do have a picture of him here with Hercules. And then we have Garmar from Norse mythology. Then we also have Black Dogs of Death from England. And then there are also fairy hounds of Celtic mythology.
Yeah, I think Cerberus is probably like the most literal interpretation of a hellhound because it was a dog given with three heads that lived in the Greek equivalent of hell,
Yes.
or at least the underworld.
Yeah. Plus, I think he's the most well known. He's the one I think of whenever I think of a hellhound.
Yeah, the most well known and the most literal interpretation of what people think of when they think of a hellhound.
Mm.
And continuing with Cerberus, and it's often referred to as the Hound of Hades, which, like we were saying, is was the Greek underworld and the Greek god of the underworld's name. And he's a three-headed dog that guards the gate of the underworld to prevent the dead from leaving and the living from entering. And it's the offspring of monsters Echidna and Typhoon, and was usually described as having three heads, a serpent for a tail, and snakes protruding from its body. And capturing Cerberus was the last of Heracles' 12 labors, or more commonly, Hercules. Heracles is just the Greek name for Hercules.
Yeah, I use it interchangeably every once in a while.
But if we say Hercules or Heracles, we're talking about the same person, just depending on if it's the Greek or Roman mythos.
hmm And then in 856, there was a French sighting of a large black hound that would apparently appear in a church even when the doors are shut. And when you think of a church, you usually think of it as a safe place from things of hell, but apparently this one was not.
Apparently, this was extremely strong, at least in the supernatural sense, that would, you know, enter a holy place seemingly with no problem.
Yes.
And in Belgium, forgive me for the pronunciation, not very good with this, but Oud Rodoverden or Old Red Eyes, aka the Beast of Flanders, was reported in the 18th century, was a reported demon who took the form of a large black hound with red eyes, thus the name Old Red Eyes. And southern Belgium has Chin El Chine or Chained Hound, which also resembled a hellhound, but this one apparently had a chain, thus chained hound.
Hmm. And then in the US version, most of them center around Connecticut, where we have Meriden has had a legend of hellhounds since the 1800s, and it's said to haunt the Hanging Hills, a series of rock ledges and gorges that are a popular tourist attraction. And it's said to be a protector of the supernatural.
So very much like Cerberus, in the sense it's a protector of sorts.
Mm-hmm.
And in pop culture, there's a lot of hellhound influenced media. There's Houndor, Houndoom, and Mega Houndoom from Pokemon. There's Call of Duty. There's X Files. There's Monsters and Mysteries in America. Again, there's Lost Tapes, Supernatural, the Percy Jackson franchise slash universe, since it's very much Greek and very much takes inspiration from Greco-Roman myths. So Cerberus is in there. And Mountain Monsters has even done, I think, about 2 or 3 episodes on the Hellhound. So we're just hitting kind of all the big shows and media franchises today.
They've done multiple episodes on hellhounds. Jeez, I guess they could do on like different areas where they've been seen, but jeez.
But yeah, their Hellhounds are just so interesting that I think that's anybody that in the media world's done at least one thing involving Hellhounds, just because it's so prevalent. And on to our thoughts. Black hounds do exist, like the black and tan coonhound, among other dogs of considerable size that can have black coats. Might have been confused for supernatural dog at night, since it's a black dog, it's at night. Oh, spooky! It's a hellhound. But I don't think the hellhounds, as in the legend, actually exists.
Yeah, I agree. I personally don't think hellhounds or actual dogs of hell exist. Kind of like you were saying there. I mean, like if a black dog kind of ran at you in the middle of the night or something like that, I could see you being pretty scared. But them actually being hellhounds, no.
And I'm not sure, but I don't think dogs' eyes glow red at night. But maybe some certain other canines' eyes do glow red. I'm not the biologist here, so forgive me.
I didn't even think about that. I should have looked at that. No, I don't know for sure if any particular dog breeds or anything like that have like red eyes. I don't know.
But I do know dogs' eyes do glow in the night. So maybe that people saw a black dog at night, got scared, and was just like, oh, yeah, their eyes were glowing red.
The only thing I think of off the top of my head is I know albino animals usually do have a higher chance of having red eyes, but that kind of defeats the purpose of a black hound because it would be white, not black. So I don't know.
Yeah, and the white kind of stands out at night.
Yeah, yeah.
So if there was going to be confusion, it would be the from the eyes glowing at night, not the color of the dog.
Hey, future Ethan here. So I looked up a little bit on what can like affect the eyes or the eye color that you see, and apparently Siberian Huskies have red eyes, and then also any eye color that is blue will reflect and look red. So, and then also albino dogs will also have red eyes. So, think of it as like what we see is red instead of actual having red eyes. So think of that as Siberian Huskies, then any dog with blue eyes, and then albino dogs. So really, if you had blue eyes, then it could look like a black dog with blue eyes could be what people think of a hellhound because they would see the red eyes reflected at night.
But I think that's all we've got for this week. We'll see you next week with another episode. Any last words, Ethan?
No, just thanks for watching, everyone.
Well, thanks for watching. We'll see you next week. Like, comment, and subscribe if you're on YouTube. Drop us a follow if you're on Spotify. And we'll see you next time.
Yep, bye, everyone.
You might wake up beside Spearfinger with an extended visit from Jack the Ripper. But if you're lucky, it'll be an angel on that range hill of Louisiana. You might meet Mary Laveau or the Road. At Folklore Unlocked, Austin and Ethan concoct their theory of the eerie and unexplained around the world, sometimes even the underworld. The lore is locked behind secrets, the folklore is meant to be unlocked. The Sokoloo is haunting NC as well as Tennessee. There are many giants that might be clients of the Dark Watchers, who might have psychokinesis. And the phantom time hypothesis is like the phoenix, coming back around again and again. The laser strain on your brain if you've got more than 2 brain cells in you. Some believe McCartney is dead because they read into the Mandela effect, which is subject to folklore.